proposed questions that were presented, and at each question we have given some points. Starting with the first challenge, which was on the what are the primary policy, regulatory and legislative challenges hindering the widespread implementation of circular economy principles in the thematic areas. So for the plastic group, we have seen that there is a weak policy enforcement. This is on each side, but specifically on the government. And we say that there is need to improve and put some measures to enforce the policies that have been put in place. On the other point was that in so many cases there is lack of data for policy. These are reliable data. There may be some data, but not reliable to base on while making decisions. For policy formulation and implementation. The other point was a lack or low awareness on policies that are existing and regulations in which, of course, makes the enforcement not working. The second challenge was on what knowledge gaps or capacity constraints exist within government agencies, industry or research institutions that need to be addressed. So the knowledge gaps, we have identified the capacity gap. They have even the moderator of the wrap-up has mentioned the EPR implementation. There is also a poor coordination of the agencies, relevant agencies, and we also identified lack of technical capacity to recover and recycle certain plastics. And we have given an example of diapers, and mentioning that in some of the developed countries, such as China, there is this recycling of baby diapers. So there is another issue, knowledge gaps, which is expensive technology in terms of recycling and also in terms of recovering and collecting the materials to be based on. The other challenge was how can we overcome resistance to change or traditional practices to embrace circular models. The first proposal was to offer incentives for transition. The government has to study well the situation and know what incentives should be given. And the other point was to increase education and awareness, especially consumer education and awareness, and also improve affordability and circular alternatives because of the high costs of circularity. The last point on this challenge was to ensure effective regulation enforcement. This one now responds to the first challenge we have identified. The last challenge was what are the key implementation challenges for transitioning from linear to circular economy models, particularly regarding waste management and resource recovery. The first one, the first implementation challenge is now on the waste management infrastructure. There are gaps in this part, and we have also limited market opportunities, maybe in the continents, in the regions, and lack of funding so that we can transition from linear to circular. There is lack of standards, harmonized standards and this has been coming so many times that there are no technical requirements that are guiding in this circular economy. The other issues on implementation is the issues with regional value chains. There are my colleagues will now improve on what I'm presenting, but the last one on these challenges is negative consumer attitude, which is complementing the change of mindset change. These were the challenges that we have identified. Maybe let's continue with recommendations. Next slide, maybe this one. Okay, the recommendations on policy recommendations to government, national government, we proposed to strengthen institutional capacity. These include the research institutions, to establish some mechanisms for funding, and also improve cross-agency collaboration, like a kind of coordination mechanism. Shift mindset for disposal to recovery, and adhere to specific standards. We proposed just one, but there are other management systems. This one is the environmental management system that government should mobilize their industry to adhere to, and incentivize circular products and practices. This is to government. Now to regional economic communities, we recommended them to harmonize policies and standards at regional level. And on this particular one, on standards, I have maybe to mention that currently the regional economic communities and also are harmonizing are developing a strategy, a continental strategy for standards. And as we speak now, there is a validation workshop at the SADC level. At SADC level, we have done the EAC level, and next week we will do the ECOWAS level. And the other week we will now do the continental validation of the strategy, meaning harmonization of policies and standards will be based on what is there at continental level, not only isolating in the region. So the second recommendation to REX is establishing centers of excellence. Sorry. Yes, I'm done this then. Okay. There is another one, but now these are the ones that we have given to REX. Political alignment, removal of technical barriers to trade. This includes the mutual recognition agreements, and also built environment. This one, in the first place, we thought that it is not relevant to plastics, but we realized that we have to take care of the plastics that are used in built environment. This includes the incentives, the harmonized African standards for the built environment. We even talked about the building code for the built environment. Maybe the last slide is just to show now the role of data and digital technology, where the data enables opportunity sizing and problem analysis, data which supports investment and aid infrastructure, implementation and reporting, M&E, and also support the strategy development. The last one is now the investment in data and digital technology. So everyone needs to think about this. Thank you so much.